Hey everyone, are you fed up? Well, that's great news. Why is that the case? Let's get into it. So, the problem we have sometimes, and I saw this today with some clients I was speaking to today, there is, you're not in optimal health, but you're kind of like getting by. With me? So, for example, you could say, I was talking with some vitiligo clients, and some of them were like, it's tough having patches of white skin on your body, but um, basically they were saying it's not the end of the world. And what that leads to is it leads to two problems. Number one, it leads to a lack of motivation. Like if you're not going to change, then if you're not fed up, you're not going to change. You're not going to want to change, right? You don't want it badly enough. And so therefore, any attempts you make, and I saw this with one of the clients I was speaking to today, any attempts you make to change are sort of half-hearted or half-assed attempts, if I'm perfectly honest, right? So you change one thing one day, and then you change something the other day, and like you're making these little tries, but you never stick with one methodology long enough to actually see any progress. And in something like vitiligo, that's super important because it's a skin disease, and the skin takes a long time to regenerate. So 3 months is like the beginning. It can take a year or longer to see progress in many cases, right? So you have to want it, and you have to be committed to it. That's point number one. Point number two, if you're fed up, I mean, I think again there has to be a gap from when we're talking about coaching, when we're talking about health, we're talking about a transformation process. And in order for a transformation process to happen, there has to be a gap between who you are and who you will be. If that gap doesn't exist, you can't go anywhere. Like this is just physics, right? You're going to stay where you are. So, my entry into all this stuff is the physical. I talk about health, I talk about diet, I talk about exercise, I talk about sun exposure. These are all like physical things, right? But other people can get similar results or even better results or the same results starting with an emotional entry point, right? The emotional entry point again is like, can you feel? Can you close your eyes? Can you imagine who you will be? Can you feel? And this can work in many areas of life. Can you feel the success? Can you feel the romance? Can you feel the love? Can you feel the energy of who you want to be, who you will be in some future time, right? Because once you feel that, you can actually bring that into you. I know this sounds weird in some ways for someone who's so physical and scientifically oriented like myself, but it's the truth, right? I mean, these are truths that I've seen again and again. You can make progress with the physical as an entry point, but you can also make progress with the emotional as an entry point. All of these roads can lead forward, right? Now, the danger I see is again, if you don't want it bad enough, but you want it kind of, then there's this tendency to take sort of half roads. And there's a saying that, there are many roads, all roads lead to Rome, if you want to use that analogy, but there's no half road. There's no road that you can walk 2 paces. If you're trying to get whatever it is to your destination, call it Rome, there's nowhere you can just take 5 steps and suddenly you're there. That doesn't exist. The road, no matter which road you take, is going to be a long road. Whether it's, there's some roads that I think are longer and that I don't recommend. The shortest road I think is the way that I recommend, which is starting on an ancestrally oriented path. But it doesn't matter. I mean, many roads will get there. You just have to commit to it, right? And so this is why I think being fed up is such an important state of mind. Are you pissed? Are you angry with yourself? Are you angry with your past self? Not are you angry that you are remaining with your symptoms? Are you angry that you don't know what to do? So anxiety is one thing. Anxiety can't be motivating. But what I want is like a certain kind of a burning hunger, a certain desire, a certain anger that will say, no, I'm going to achieve that, even if your goal seems impossible. All these goals seemed impossible for someone. If someone had told me 20 years ago that I was going to reverse my vitiligo, that I was going to, be completely heart disease free at age 50 or whatever it is, I wouldn't have believed them, right? I would say, no, what are you talking about? But the fact is that I was able to do all these things, right? So, and not just me, many, 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 many people that we've helped through this process. So it is about wanting it, is about getting fed up and getting uncomfortable with your current state, right? If you're comfortable in sickness, then don't come to me, to be honest. Like that's not someone I can work with, is someone who's comfortable in their sickness. But if you're willing to get uncomfortable, if you're willing to commit small changes, we're not talking about radical things. If you're willing to commit small changes day by day to take a step forward day by day, and eventually you'll get to your Rome, I promise, then give me a call. My number is always open. So thanks so much. I'll see you in the next one.